Basketball fans, welcome back. So, the Nairobi City Thunder are having one of the most historic off seasons of all time. So, last year, prior to the season, I made a video talking about the aggressive power grab that the Nairobi City Thunder had. And at that point, with the signings and the revamp of the team, when Twende acquired the Nairobi City Thunder, they did some rebranding, they changed a few things, and fast forward to when the season ended and the playoffs and finals came to a close, they won the championship. And in that roster, it was just historic what they were able to do, given the resources that they had at the time. So during that time, I made a couple of videos talking about them. I talked about their 22-0 season as the season came to a close. And also, I came on record saying that the Nairobi City Thunder, they are the team to beat in Kenyan basketball. They had a few exhibition matches. They matched up against the Phenomenal Phenoms earlier this year in January. They matched up against the Cobra Sport team. Right now, as we speak, they finished and capped off a historic season. Even I made a video talking about how they finished off the season. They just went on to do very historic things. And in this video, I'll just be doing a detailed recap on what we have seen in the off season. So there are a couple of things that have happened, especially with the big stars in the Nairobi City Thunder. So the first domino that caught me off guard and was surprising was the MVP, Albert Odero. He played for the Nairobi City Thunder. He was pivotal in that championship run, and especially with his acquisition at the second half of the season, his addition, he added so much productivity and value to that team. And I can say he was one of the main reasons as to why the Nairobi City Thunder were that team that couldn't be beaten, because he was just a spectacular player. And the first domino to fall, and it actually caught me off guard, and even I made a post on it on my various social media, was him signing a short-term deal with Urinani. So at the time, this move caught me off guard because I was expecting this is the MVP, and he needs to rest up. He needs to find ways in which he can just take it easy from a grimy, grueling season, especially in the playoffs and finals where he was supposed to play. I know he was hit with that doping issue, but the Nairobi City Thunder, their front office, was able to take care of that, and he was able to play. So I was expecting him to at least take it easy and just rest up as the team just prepares for BAL. So when I saw him go to Urinani, even I made a post talking about this, and it was actually quite shocking because at that time I was not even looking at the potential moves that the Thunder could have made. In hindsight, with what has happened right now, so with that move, caught me off guard. And the Nairobi City Thunder at that time, enjoying the unbeaten season, we saw them in Cloud9. They were just, doing their media tours, saw them doing some paintballing and stuff. So they were just, taking it easy. Then in a blockbuster move, we saw not even the first domino, but the second thing that happened. So with the departure of Albert Odero on a short-term deal to Urinani. So Urinani, this is a basketball team that is in Burundi, and right now they're headed to the playoffs. So Albert Odero, he's suiting up there, but he's going to come back to the Nairobi City Thunder for that BAL push. So this signing of Tyler Ongwae, this signing was one of those ones that caught me off guard. And I just remembered that time I was just, chilling, I was just looking at other content I was making. Then boom, I just saw this and I was just surprised. I just saw this on my feed, and quite frankly, the Nairobi City Thunder were able to pull it off. They were able to bring in Tyler Ongwae, one of the star players for the Kenyan Morans. I know I made a video years back talking about his departure from the team Morans, the way he quicked it. And since 2021, we have yet to see Tyler Ongwae suit for the Kenya Morans national team, that the AfroBasket 2021. So it's been a few years since we have seen him suit out for Kenya. So this one was actually quite huge because Tyler Ongwae, this is a player that he was able to win. He was able to win the EuroLeague. So with that team they played for in Germany, so the Niners. So he had a very good season. He was able to just add on to his legacy. And with this signing, the Nairobi City Thunder did not hold back, and they just presented a very good deal, and they brought him in. So this move in particular, adding on to what we saw, especially in that roster, it just brings in another dynamic. We're just waiting to see how the lineups are going to be. So I thought that the Tyler Ongwae signing was the peak signing that the Nairobi City Thunder are going to make. Then, boom, we saw the Nairobi City Thunder come out with that signature signing of Eugene Adera. So Eugene Adera, the Nairobi City Thunder were quite cheeky, especially in their social media posts. They made sure to try to hide his ID with the way in that photo shoot he went ahead and wore that helmet. But anyway, we already knew it was him because he has that signature, the way he does it with his hands. So we just knew it was him, and he also likes bikes. So Eugene Adera, he's the other new member for the Nairobi City Thunder. So the Thunder are just aggregating stars at this point. You might ask yourself, how are they able to pull off these signings? And these signings are just insane, because looking at the whole league, the way the players are being distributed throughout the league, you're seeing all the stars are just aggregating into the Nairobi City Thunder squad in that roster. So we saw that signing of Eugene Adera. Then I thought the Nairobi City Thunder were just going to, pump the brakes there. We've seen a major signing. They signed Tyler Ongwae. They signed Eugene Adera. Then again, the Nairobi City Thunder again with a signing of Derek Ogechi. So at this point, I'm just confused because they're just aggregating all the stars. And from the three major signings that we've seen, these three players have played for the national team. So Eugene Adera, he had his debut for the Kenya Morans national team in last year's the 2023 AfroChan, where he balled out. He was one of those guys that was a reliable option on offense and a very productive player with the ball in his hand. So he's not a very efficient shooter, but he's able to finish the rim both with the left and right hand. He's a mostly a streaky shooter, but at the point guard position, he's that guy that can be able to take that team to that next level. Then, with the addition of Tyler Ongwae, I feel Tyler Ongwae, he is one of the best players I've seen play for that Kenya Morans national team. And not even one of the best, he actually is the best because he leads in scoring, he leads in rebounds, he leads in efficiency. It's just that the system around him when he plays in the team Morans was really frustrating. But he is overall a very quality player based on what I've seen throughout the years. It's just that the system that he played in wasn't the most favorable. And that's why I've not been seeing him suit up for the Kenya Morans national team because of the whole team culture fit, which was not appropriate. So that's why he opted out. But with the new system in the Nairobi City Thunder, it's going to be quite a tall ask to see how Tyler Ongwae, Eugene Adera, and Derek Ogechi are going to fit. And also remember that also Albert Odero is still on contract with the Nairobi City Thunder. So we have 4 megastars on the team. And also, we've not even mentioned, you've got the likes of Ariel Okal, you've got Garang, you've got Fade in there, so you've got James Mwangi there. So we are seeing a lot of players, we've seen a lot of talent in there, and also Griffin, Dismas, Ariel Ortega. So there's going to be a bit of roster shifts, and you're going to see a couple of players getting cut to make space for this national team 2.0. I remember even made a post talking about the Nairobi City Thunder being the Kenya Morans 2.0. This is a team that has about 90% of the national team players. So you're seeing couple of national team players in there. So there's Griffin Ligare, Ariel Okal, Ken Washira, Albert Odero, Eugene Adera, Tyler Ongwae, Derek Ogechi, almost 8 to 9 players. So almost 9 players coming from the national team. And also Fahim Juma is still on the squad. So this is a loaded roster. And also Ariel Ortega, almost 10 players from the national team in there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this team meshes. And looking at how the Nairobi City Thunder are just taking Kenyan basketball and also just adding on to that roster and just taking the league by storm, the way they won that championship, that ball push is just serious. And a lot of people are just asking the question, how are they able to pull this off? How? Derek Ogechi, with the Nairobi City Thunder. At some point, it looks like it was a jersey swap because it just doesn't look real, especially that Tyler Ongwae signing. Still, at that point, it took me a couple of days to process that signing because it was just a shocking signing. Then Eugene, at some point, I feel like Eugene, his time with the KPA Dockers, it just came to a grinding halt when Coach Cliff came in there. And I remember even when I was covering the AfroChan 2023, I talked about the grand fallout between Coach Cliff and Eugene Adera because Eugene didn't play the last two games against Nigeria. He didn't play the last two games. So after that Morocco game, that's where things just went downhill. And looking at how he didn't like the way Coach Cliff was coaching, he decided to leave KP as the reigning and defending Finals MVP, and he forced his way to the Equity Dumas. So the Equity Dumas team did not have a good postseason, but in the regular season, they were the team that was just right there just to challenge the Nairobi City Thunder. But in the playoffs, in the semis, the Thunder just swept the Dumas, and at that point, I just knew Eugene is not gonna waste his miles and waste his minutes playing for an Equity Dumas team. So that signing was inevitable because that Eugene Adera and Albert Odero connection is just spectacular because those two players, when they work in tandem, they are just difficult to beat. And then you add on Tyler Ongwae, Derek Ogechi, he has had his mark, especially when he played in the AfroChan last year. Then we had him play in the FIBA AfroBasket qualifiers where he had a very, very inconsistent performance, but still, you can even put him ahead of the players that we have seen in KBF because he has played overseas. I know he's not played for the top leagues like that the way Tyler Ongwae has done, but his productivity, given the sample size that we have seen, he is a special signing. Then Eugene is just a bona fide star. I call him Kyrie because of how he plays. Then we have Tyler Ongwae there, very good player, and Albert Odero, Kenyan Airways, the MVP. So it's going to be very interesting to see the players who got cut so that these new signings can be able to get into the roster, and also how the lineups are going to be, because this is going to be a very, very tough situation for Brad Hibbs, because you can have all these top tier talented players, all these big name players, all these star players looking to find their mark in there in the game, and how you're going to balance their minutes, how you're going to balance their rotation, because it's 40 minutes. So who is going to be that guy that you go to, because there are multiple star players in the squad. So I know a couple of players are going to take a back seat, and a couple of players are going to sacrifice some of their roles and stats. They're going to take a hit. But anyway, it's all for good for the team. But with all these signings, there's one thing that I feel people are missing out on, because I know a lot of people, especially fans, when they see their best players joining their favorite team, they're just so excited, they're happy, they feel like everything is just going to line up. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because one thing is for sure. There are going to be a couple of instances where play calls are going to be run, and you're not going to see a lot of smile in people's faces, because you're expecting some plays to be called for this particular player. And if that player doesn't get his touches, there's going to be some issues. So I am just keen to observe how this tandem, how this super team, this Avengers super team, so as you might call it, is going to fare in the BAL, because right now the Nairobi City Thunder cannot fail in the road to BAL, because all these major signings, a couple of players are going to take a back seat on offense, and they're going to take different roles. We're just going to wait and see that. So in closing, there's a video that I made talking about the Nairobi City Thunder, especially with reference to their roster. So I was just comparing them to the 2017 Golden State Warriors. Okay, I'm not saying that they are like that. This roster is like the 2017 Golden State Warriors, but all I'm just saying is when KD joined Golden State, you saw Steph just take a hit on his stats. You saw a couple of shifts, especially in offense, and the Golden State Warriors were actually winning. So who's going to get the credit when they win? Because you see Tyler Ongwae, you see Derek Ogechi, you see Eugene, you see Albert Odero is going to be there. Sifa Mjuma. And I know when you aggregate all these stars in the Nairobi City Thunder to end the basketball, it's always going to be about team. But when you keep winning, some of these players are going to ask themselves, or even ask each other, why are we winning? Is it because of me? Can I get my spotlight? Something like that is going to happen. So the Nairobi City Thunder need to prepare for that, because managing all these star players and managing all these egos, man, it's a tough thing. Because when you look at putting all these players together and having them work as a singular unit, that's just going to be one of those things that the coaching staff needs to figure out. So anyway, it is what it is. So the other teams, the other KBF teams, Ulinzi, KPA, Kutudumas, Eldonets. I don't even know why I mentioned Eldonets. But anyway, they're just struggling for scraps right now. KPA, they have not made any signings. They still have Haidara there. So there's nothing going on in KPA. There's nothing going on in the Kutudumas. Actually, the Kutudumas, there's trouble in paradise because of the off-court antics, a bit of mismanagement coming from the team management. So, yeah. I mean, no star player is going to go and waste their time there. So KPA, I mean, they just got swept. They're just at the lowest point, both the men's and women's team. At least the Equity Hawks brought in some light in the Equity franchise, because the Equity Dumas got swept. At least the Hawks won the finals for the women's division. And the Ulinzi Warriors are just spiraling into oblivion. So no other team has been able to make good signings like this. And the talent pool, given the way it is, the team that has the most resources, like the Nairobi City Thunder, they'll make these signings happen. But the other teams, with their limited approach and mindset and their inability to be able to create good fan bases and be able to endear themselves to the fans, it's just going to be very difficult for them to be able to get that type of notoriety. But anyway, it is what it is. So the Nairobi City Thunder right now, they're the best team in Kenyan basketball, and they've just added 3 star players. We're just waiting to see Albert Odero just come and suit up for the Nairobi City Thunder after he finishes his short-term contract on loan to the Urinani basketball team. Hopefully he's able to just be back into form. And also, just in closing, I even saw a social media post where I saw Ariel Okal and Garang Ding, they were in Kinshasa, they were playing. So I don't know how that's gonna work, but anyway, I mean, I just like to see this team just succeed in BAL and at least make BAL, because it's way long overdue. KPA has failed, Ulinzi has failed. Last year it was Equity Duma's time, but they failed in the finals. So yeah, the Nairobi City Thunder right now, with these signings, can they be able to make a BAL push? Please drop your comments down in the comment section down below on what you think about this. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.